Here he is, folks. Franklin Ty Tucker. All right, Ty. So are you done with your sentence, first of all? Are you done, or do you owe them any time?
Oh, no, I owe them nothing.
Okay.
Zero, Vinny. And by the way, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. So you are free. What is it like right now to have this murder case in the rearview mirror?
Well, that part, I mean, it's actually really good. Obviously, I mean, it's kind of interesting though, because you know, the plea came about, and the reason I took the plea was again, you mentioned the no contest part. That was a big deal for me because I was never going to plead guilty to it. They also conceded that they could never prove me guilty of it. That was a problem. But rather than drop the case, instead of dropping the case as they should, they wanted their 10 pounds of flesh. And so I went ahead with this plea. But, you know, I told them, you know, point blank when we were doing the negotiations, I was like, you know, look, if you can come up with something where I don't plead guilty and I don't do a single day's worth of time, no probation, nothing, then we can talk. And in addition to all that, I also got them to waive all the costs of prosecution. So didn't have a big bill at the end of it either. So
okay. Now,
yeah, it's that ended up being the gist of the deal.
So how would you describe this experience that you've gone through? Because this goes back to 2017. You're a defendant in a murder case. It takes years for it to all happen. You go through, you represent yourself at trial, and then you end up where you are now. How would you describe this experience to someone?
Well, I'll tell you, you know, Vinny, I mean, you know, you heard me say during the trial many times that, you know, the legal system down there is highly corrupt, systemically corrupt. You know, we knew that for the entire 7 years. You know, even what they did with me when they put me back in jail. The whole point of putting me back in jail was to tie my hands behind my back and then force me into a trial where they knew I wasn't going to be able to be ready because they just took away all my materials. They just took away everything. And they're totally in control. And I had to, you know, I had to check myself for a second. And I was like, look, you know, the bottom line is that I looked at this as more of it was a move upward, but it was also a move laterally. Because, okay, why am I sitting here in this jail cell, you know, fighting the hardest way possible while they have all this leverage over me? They, you know, again, they can throw me in jail, they can put me in the hole, they can go ahead and lose my paperwork. I mean, I had motions that would be, you know, coming in, you know, they're making me send them by snail mail. I mean, you know, motions disappear when I send them out for copies, whatever. I mean, so you're fighting the hardest way possible, but, you know, but that's the thing is, okay, why do that when I can plead, you know, no contest? And yeah, as far as that goes, you explained it beautifully. I mean, I didn't plead guilty. They didn't prove me guilty, which means I can take it now to a civil arena where now they have none of that leverage. They can't do anything as far as throwing me in jail.
Wait. What do you mean a civil arena? What are you doing next? What are you doing next with this in the civil arena?
Oh, I plan on suing the hell out of that county. You know, the state attorney's office, the state attorney. He actually even admitted it. He actually admitted it on the radio when we made the deal. He's like, yeah, he's going to come back. He's going to sue the sheriff's department. He's going to sue me. He's going to sue the, you know, state attorney's office. I mean, all the misconduct they did. I mean, you know. All right,
yeah, let me jump in here for a second. So now you're talking about 1 second, Ty. You're talking about filing a civil suit. You're going to fight the government again, right? Are you getting a lawyer, or are you doing it yourself?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Vinny, I'm not doing that one pro se. No, okay. I'll pass on that. You know? No, there's so much litigation involved with the things they did. I mean, you know, that's the thing is, okay, all the viewers out there, they saw the trial, right? The trial, and you probably know this very well, is only about 10% of the entire case. Most of what you're fighting is going to be in pretrial motions. You're going to be doing hearings in pretrial that the jury's never going to see. And yeah, there was a lot of things that happened over the years. Everything from being set up with the jailhouse snitch. If you remember my my JOA, when I argued the JOA, I kind of put the judge on blast. And it was over that jailhouse snitch. That violated 4 of my constitutional rights, including the right to due process, which in the state of Florida, when the government violates your due process rights, they must dismiss the case. But unfortunately, the judge didn't do that. My judge didn't do a lot of things he was supposed to, which actually I filed a JQC complaint based on the lies that were told. You caught that when they lied to the jury about the murder weapon at the end in their clothes, and the judge, his response was, well, I don't see a problem with that.
So is this lawsuit going to be...
and the whole panel saw a problem with that.
Right. Is this about principle or is this about money? Do you think you can win money, or are you doing this out of principle and you want to shine a light on this?
Vinny, it's really about making sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. Like you said at the very beginning of this, and the Sixth Amendment, yes, it does give you the right to counsel, but that does not put prosecutors in check. I mean, these prosecutors, they have no problem with doing all kinds of shady stuff. Like even when we were negotiating this deal, the threat they threw at me was this. They knew they couldn't beat me at trial. There was no way they were going to beat me at trial. Because coming back the second time, there was all kinds of things that were going to be in my favor. Namely, one, I was going to get the other, another victim on my side who, says 100% sure it wasn't me, and actually picked John Travis Johnson out of the photo lineup as the second guy. So that was going to be tough for them. But their logic was this: is we may not be able to get, we may not be able to convict you. We may not be able to, go ahead and get an entire jury, but we can get at least one juror. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we'll get that one juror, and we'll keep on taking you back to trial over and over and over again. And that, theoretically they could do that, and they could keep me incarcerated the entire time. So why go through that?
Yeah.
If the state
it makes
Florida
sense.
will let me prove my innocence in civil court.
It would have been foolish for you to not take this deal. Like, I'm a lawyer. I look at it'd be foolish because now here's the question though: will you stay out of trouble?
Vinny, if you look at my record, you notice they didn't bring up my record in trial, right? I don't have a record. Look, I've had some speeding tickets. I've gotten busted with weed a couple times in my life. Let's see, maybe a disorderly conduct or something here or there. I don't know. But it's not like I've had misdemeanors in my life, and I've had normal people kind of charges, not 10 felonies including homicide. You got to remember, man. Okay, if this case was any good, and you know this as well as I do, if it was any good, I was looking at a life sentence plus 370 years is what I was looking at, and they dropped it down to 910 days time served. If they thought I was actually a killer, do you think they would have done that? No. The thing is okay, but they didn't want to go back up on court TV again, get beat by a pro se again. But, of course, they're going to have to go ahead and retry the case again. And that's where I didn't want, I was like, because look, the state attorney just got reelected. He could do it theoretically. He could do it again for another 4 or 5 years.
Sure.
So no, I didn't want to.
Ty,
I wasted 7 years of my life.
I thought you had gotten arrested after the trial. Did you have a run-in, and is that how you ended up? Like, what happened there?
Yes. No. It wasn't even like that. No. Okay. Judge Morgan. Again, talk about doing, dirt. I told you they're dirty, Vinny. I don't know any way else to put it. But the guy goes ahead and he violates me for not showing up to a UA. But even their own, the pretrial officer says I showed up for the UA and I was denied the ability to test. And when I did test, I pissed clean. But by that point, the judge already issues the warrant. He goes ahead and has me extradited down there when he knew I was coming down there to self-surrender, right? He goes ahead and then has me arrested and puts that bill out there. Then I get there and he puts a $3.1 million bond on me. It went from $75,000 to $3.1 million. So what? We're going to give him another $300,000 we're never going to see again? And by that time, my wife and I are going through a divorce. So I'm indigent as it is anyway. And you know how and that's covered in the 8th Amendment.
Right.
You know, I mean, excessive bond is the same as saying there is no bond.
So let's get back to you.
Judge's intent.
Yep. Before we run out of time, everyone's wondering. So, what?
No, go ahead.
You've got this civil. You're gonna file a civil lawsuit, but those things take years sometimes. They take a while to resolve. They can take years. What are you doing? Are you working? Because I looked online, I came across, it looked like a profile/resume, and it says, obviously, Central Arizona College, Arizona State University, and then you list as another part of your education, the Monroe County Detention Center. So what did you learn there that is going to help you make money now?
Yes, I did. Well, and look, I do have some other plans. Actually, I wrote 2 books while I was in jail, so I'm actually trying to just get, there's a laptop being sent to me. I don't know, if you were aware that, my wife divorced me while I was in jail. And yes, we're going through some issues with resolving the divorce. But in the meantime, yes, I plan on going ahead and putting out a couple of books. I have a YouTube channel I'm going to be getting on where, I'm going to be analyzing pro se defendants like your friend there, Darnell, although I don't think he did very well, but analyzing not only them, but also, Vinny, I mean, look, there's a reason why we have a right to go self-representation too. There's a lot of times where, a defendant could do a lot better, by themselves than they could with a lawyer. I mean, down there, the whole idea is it's kidnap and ransom, right? We're going to put you in jail and we're going to hold you and we're going to hold you and hold you and hold you until, you're ready to take a deal. That's not justice, Benny. That's kidnap and ransom. That's thug tactics. And that's what they do. And whereas, okay, and don't get me wrong, a PD has what, 50 some odd clients, 60 some odd clients. I don't know. I don't know what the average PD does, but I'll tell you this, when a pro se wants to, say a guy down there, say he actually is even guilty. I don't know. There's plenty of them that are, but I mean, okay, say they want to cut a deal. Well, then what the hell are they waiting for a PD, years for a PD to do it? PD takes what, 3 months to write a motion? I can write 20 motions in a week, but because that's all I have to do. I have 24/7 a day, and I have one client. And I actually care about them.
I just want to put this up. I want to put this up, Ty.
I actually put that into effect when I was down there.
Before we run out of time, this was a statement from the state attorney after the mistrial saying, our commitment to seeking justice for Matthew Bond and Paula Belmonte remains unwavering. A retrial is necessary to provide a clear resolution to the case. We owe it to the victims and the community to ensure that justice is served. And they folded on the retrial. They folded. Would this have been different if you had a lawyer?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Vinny, if they wanted to do justice, if they actually wanted justice, this is how it would have went. They would have dropped the case against me. They would have went ahead and, gave John Travis Johnson the 30 years that he had in his deal, because he also violated every term of his probation. I mean, he popped positive on drug tests. He absconded to Texas. All this other stuff. They could have put him away for 30 years, got the 2 guys who did it, and been the good guys. But no, they wanted to make sure that they got a win, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. And that's one of the things I'm going to be doing when I go, not only in these lawsuits. Before I got out of jail, I started contacting civil rights organizations because I'm not the only one. There's plenty of people they do this to, and somebody's got to say no. No, you're not going to do this anymore. You're not going to be able to kidnap people and hold them for 4 or 5 years and get a conviction. That's ridiculous.
Well, Tyrone,
and my case is probably one of the best examples.
Yeah, Tyrone, your story is much different than most of the stories we cover here on Court TV. So I hope you steer clear of any interaction with law enforcement. You have your civil suits and you have lawyers for that. That's great. In the meantime, we appreciate your time, your honesty tonight as well. And we wish you the best moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see you, Vinny. And I mean, look, you were great during the trial. And yeah, I mean,
we call them the way we see them.
First found out.
That's all we do. We call them the way we see them, based on the evidence and the testimony.
You were like, Ty Tucker wins.
Yeah,
made me feel great, man. So,
well, stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. Stay clean. All right. Ty Tucker joining us tonight. We appreciate it. That was a big trial for us last year. You see how it ended up. No retrial. No retrial.